Where I come from in Richmond, Virginia, the whole idea of meeting an openly gay member of the police force, well, it just wasn't something that was possible. But our next guest is kind of a man who made history, one of the first openly gay members of the San Francisco Police Department, Sergeant Chuck Limbert. Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, we were chatting before we started the interview, and you told me something I didn't know, that you really were are the longest running openly gay member of the San Francisco Police Department.
Yes, I'll admit to that. My age doesn't show it, but I am.
Sorry, that was a bad way to lead into that, Chuck. That was bad.
That's all right.
All right. But no, you went into the police force in what year?
In '91.
And what was it like then versus what is it like now being an openly gay member of the PD?
Well, we had just gone through a horrible time of losing so many of our members that were gay at that time that were officers. So in my class when I came in, I was actually the first one that came in out of, and being openly gay and announcing it on the first day. Hi, I'm gay, I'm here, and I want to serve the SFPD.
And what was the response?
It was varied. It certainly was one that has followed me throughout my career, whether that be good or bad.
Yeah.
But I certainly have enjoyed who I serve and what my purpose is here, and it's about community policing.
Well, it's interesting because something else I learned about you just before this interview, and you know, for the sake of disclosure, we've known each other for about 20 years. I didn't know that you had studied to be a priest.
Yes.
So what's the road from being a kid in Chicago and going to the seminary to being a member of the SFPD?
Well, it's better weather here in San Francisco, let me tell you. I think that there really isn't that big of a change because it's about giving to the community. As my calling was, I've always felt when I worked at the first hospice unit and also an HIV ward at Illinois Masonic Hospital in Chicago, it was about giving. I've always felt that calling. And I went on to do some other things in the hospital, and then I finally realized that I wanted to be a police officer, but I never thought I would have the opportunity. When I moved to San Francisco, I met an officer who said, "You should be a police officer." And I said, "I can't. I'm gay." And he goes, "No, I'm gay too, so why don't you try?" So there were 5,000 applicants, and I ranked number 2. And I just felt that it is my calling, and it has been.
You know, a lot of police forces have a horrible reputation for being kind of bastions of conservatism and homophobia and racism, you name it. I mean, has San Francisco always been this kind of open and inviting department to sexual minorities?
I think San Francisco in general has. I think that whatever business that you want to go into or your calling has its challenges. And I think that, you know, the PD has had its challenges over the past years.
Right.
But they have now focused and moving ahead. We have a great administration now that is very open underneath Chief Sir.
Well, and Chief Sir, I mean, I would love to talk to about this incredible project that is taken part under his watch about It Gets Better.
Oh, great. It was fabulous.
It really moved me. I had more responses to friends on Facebook, relatives in Texas and Virginia saying that this is just incredible.
Yes, getting the message out there that it does get better, that no matter how you're bullied or the fact that you don't feel that you're loved or you feel that you're just an outcast, that is for a momentary little amount of time in your life compared to what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And if you can just focus on the fact that it does get better, that I can just make it through on this day and I can go on to 2 days and then a month and just focus on what the goal is. It's about your self-respect, about yourself and moving through that.
Has the department gotten good response from that? I mean, have other police departments said, wow, we got to do that too?
Oh, definitely. I think that they've gotten hits from all over the world. It went viral on the YouTube, and I think that it's been very popular with the schools and other police departments that would use that as part of their sensitivity training.
Right. Let's go back in time again to when you're that young, almost priest, now a member of the San Francisco Police Department. That was a time when AIDS was, I mean, literally rampant. Certainly in the area covered by Mission Station. I mean, you could see people on the street with AIDS, HIV. The BAR obituary pages were full. What was it like being a young cop back then?
It was heartbreaking. It truly was, because if you have so many friends that you first meet when you get here, and as you can see them physically diminish over time because of the illness, and they didn't have the drugs that they have now at that time. Your heart just bleeds, and you care about these people, and you want to be a part of their life. I've gone to more funerals or memorial services or celebrations of life than I care to even think about. And the police were a part of that. I had several of my friends that were prior to my arrival in the police department that died. It really does affect you, and it makes you more aware of making contact with someone and caring about what their time is, how limited it is, and making sure that you can interact with them in a positive way.
Right. Now, I jokingly referred to it as the gay streets of San Francisco. Mission Station covers a wide area, and people think of it as the gay district, but it's really one of the more diverse, because it roughly is District 8 politically. It's a really diverse neighborhood in San Francisco. It's not just gay.
No, it's not. It's very diverse. We have a very large Hispanic population. We have Noe Valley, and we have low-income housing, as well as the Castro area, which in itself is diverse because it transcends all those things that I just said also economically.
Yeah, we were talking about when I first moved to Castro, it was very different. There was actually a lesbian bar still there, and it seemed like more of a community. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but it seemed to me in a sense, it was a little friendlier. Now Castro's changed a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about that. Do you think that's true?
Oh, I agree with you. I totally agree that it's changed since I came here and you moved here also, is the fact that we had more a sense of community. And it was more of a gay male community at that time, in the fact that we had a lot of older men and they assisted. So if a young person came to the town, you would meet somebody and they would introduce you at the bars to other people. There was an art form of communicating in a bar too also, that if you saw somebody standing down at the end of the bar, you wouldn't go approach them, but you send them a drink. And if they responded back to you and sent you a drink back, you could approach them. And someone would say, oh, he's a nice guy or whatever, and someone actually would act as an intermediary and introduce you. We've lost that. We've changed. We're no longer just primarily an LGBT. We're very heterosexual. We have young families that are moving in with their children. We have bars that run special nights for people from the East Bay, heterosexual nights.
Walking through the Castro, you never thought you would see that. Groups of non-gay, which I think in a sense is wonderful, the maturing of the community.
Yes.
But it does come with a price. Any community that sees itself transition has some bumps along the way. What have been some of the bumps lately? Really, we're talking about safety and specifically about the Castro district part of your beat.
We see the changes in large events. We've seen that happen at Halloween. We've seen that happen at Pink Saturday. And not so much at Castro Street Fair, but we see it on a nightly basis, depending on what event is being held. If it's a women's only night, if it's an East Bay night, if it's a specific genre to music, that brings in the group that wants to come to that. Now, then we have a clash of personalities as well as cultures. So a gay man could be walking down the street and see some erotic, maybe picture in the window of a video, but yet a heterosexual couple that's coming down with their child doesn't want to see that. So there's a conflict. We also have a lot more youth, gay youth, that don't have a place to go to, that are hanging out in the Castro. That creates a conflict because it's an adult venue area. It really is, and that's not really a proper place for youth.
So talk to me about that, because we see it. We have youth hanging out. Some people say, oh, it's great. Young people have to have a place they call home. Others say, no, they're causing trouble. Is the truth somewhere in the middle?
It is in the middle. I think that we need, as a culture, as a city, we need to dedicate a safe area for youth that are questioning themselves, that are surrounded by adults or peer counselors that are going to support them and give them suggestions to move in the right direction. Instead of being in an area that is predominantly alcohol-driven, because that's the business mixed with the residents, but I would rather see a youth kind of be removed from that and have an opportunity to be a youth and to function as one.
All right. So do the young people on your beat come up to you and say, hey, Sergeant, and I'm talking not just about Castro Street, but on Mission and Valencia?
I'm known by many names. Sergeant Chuck, I just go by. I think that that's a really good one. I think that the chief is referred to me as the mayor of the Castro unofficially. I'm involved socially. I live in the area. I work in the area, and you're never off duty. I can be approached when I'm out at the restaurants or I'm at a bar.
Yeah, it's good news, bad news. It must be hard to kind of maintain a private life.
It is difficult, but it's what I chose, And it comes back tenfold to me. This is the best job that I could have ever possibly have got into. It fulfills everything that I want, and I feel I'm like an activist in the community, but I wear a uniform.
Right.
But I can reach out and I can make a difference.
Well, I mean, the comparison between a priest and a cop, you know, the collar comes off, but he's always a priest, and you know, when the gun comes off, you're still a policeman.
Right.
You mentioned something that is concerning to me, and I think will be of concern to a lot of people that I wasn't aware of. There's a specific type of crime going on in the Castro around the bars that I hadn't heard of before this. Tell me about it.
We're being targeted. We're a vulnerable subgroup, and specifically gay men over the age of 50. We've survived this horrible disease of HIV, and then we're left. And some are single. And so their only actual ability to go out and communicate and have a socialization is going to the bars. So they go out, and you know, over the age of 50, sometimes the alcohol, you know, one drink can do you in. And what's happening is that there are specific individuals that are coming and targeting the Castro that go in that are preying on these men. So they'll befriend you. They'll come up and they'll act like they're interested in you. And they're younger, and you know, everyone wants to be flattered. I do at my age, you know, if someone's paying attention to me. They'll buy you a drink, perhaps. But little do you know that the drink could be laced with something. And so all of a sudden, their guard is let down, and then they're saying, hey, would you like to go home? Sure, let's go home. So off they go to their apartment thinking, oh my God, I found somebody that's, you know, likes me for who I am.
Right.
And then they lose consciousness or they fall asleep, only to wake up that their wallet, their credit cards, their computer is gone. They've been robbed. And I cannot believe that we allow this to go on. So I want people to be aware of it. I want men to be aware that not to be victims. So when you go out to a bar and you're going to go home with somebody, I suggest you tell one of your friends you know, who you're going to go home with. Perhaps because we all have texting, that you ask the individual, can I see your license? If they don't want to show you your license,
then you don't want to go home with them anyway.
Really, thank you.
Right.
Copy the number down and text it to your friend. I'm going with this person.
Good advice. After all the Castro's been through, it's sad to know that this is going on, but thanks for the advice. We've been speaking with Sergeant Chuck Limbert, who we'll have back on the show again, hopefully. Next, we're going to speak to the author of a book about being in the closet in the church. We'll be right back.